Hello, everyone. I'm so excited you're here. We had over 100 register, so I'm super excited to see how many actually attend versus register. And I always find it fascinating when we sign up for things and then we don't show. So welcome to those of you that showed. Elizabeth, so great to see your beautiful face, girlfriend. It's been a while. I love it when you guys keep coming back. And Catherine, great to see you. Oh, Trish is about ready to join us. So many familiar faces. All right, so I'm not going to give too much of a prologue here because guess what? We have 2 hours of content today. And for as adults, holding our attention for 2 hours is practically impossible. It's difficult in a live event, let alone a virtual one. So let's see how we can do today. But what I've done is I've loaded up with some surveys to keep you engaged and some questions to keep you engaged. So really participate. You're going to get more out of today's program if you participate. All right, and then I have some carrots, some incentives. If you stay to the very end, that's 2 hours. If you stay to the very end, I have several free gifts for you. And these gifts are, I think, are really high value. And gift one is what I call my 7 F words life architecture workbook. And what it is it's the 7 F words for living a good life. And it's a really nice workbook. It's really beautiful, but it has all these fill in the blanks where you can start getting really clear on what is a good life so that we can determine how much it costs to live it. I have another gift for you, and it's what I call my Millionaire Formula Workbook that really teaches you how to come up with your financial freedom numbers, that I'll talk more about that later. And then do I have another free gift? I think I had 3 workbooks. I'll remember what the other free gift is, but these are really high value workbooks that are beautiful, fill in the blank, and they're guides. And so I offer these really usually just to my paying clients. And so I'm giving them to you for free. Oh, and then my financial strategy workbook that is kind of my Curbs methodology. So all of those are bundled up today in 3 different workbooks and gifts. And I don't know what type of value I could throw on those, but I think they're pretty awesome. So I think you will too. All right, so those are my gifts, my carrots, my incentives, whatever word you want to give it. Thanks for the little animation there, Elizabeth. And please do that. Please add the animations, do things while you're here today to stay engaged. All right, and then what's going to happen today? I'm going to teach for about 90 minutes. And then at 90 minutes, there's going to be a little break. And after that break, I'm going to talk to you about if you want to work with me, then you'll stay on for the last 30 minutes to learn more about that. But up to that 90 minutes, I'm going to give you everything I've got. This is an educational event. It is, I think, everything that I teach you in this 90 minutes, you can go do on your own. But if you are interested in working with me, stay on for the last 30. All right, so I'm going to jump in. While I'm switching screen here, please just again, if you haven't let us know where you are, please type that in. If you're okay putting your video on, put it on, but mostly you're going to see my screen anyway, my slide deck here. But if you will, just anything it's going to help you stay engaged for today. All right, and usually putting your screen up means that we can't multitask in the background. All right, so I'm doing a couple things here to get my screen ready for you. Give me 2 seconds. It's hard to talk and do the same thing. All right. So let me go, hold on real quick. All right, here we go. All right, can everybody see my screen? Give me a thumbs up. Let me know. Okay. All right, so today we're going to talk about what I call wise money. As you know, my name is Krisstina Wise, and so this is a play on my name. And I'll tell a quick story to start us off. When I was in college, it was my sophomore year of college, and I had this law professor, this business law professor, because I was in the business school. And I would be the one that after my tests, I'd always go argue my test scores. So there were these true, false questions. And so I would think that my answer was right. So I'd go argue, basically debate, maybe is a better word, for my grade. And this business law professor would always change my grade. So one, that was an early on lesson that taught me that, hey, You should ask for things, try to negotiate. And I'd go from maybe a B to an A in the class, but that's not the moral of the story. The moral of the story is he said, Krisstina, Krisstina Wise. Wise, that's a good name. Never lose your name. One day that name will make you money. So that little, little piece of wisdom has stuck with me all these years. It's been many, many years since I've been in college. And that's why I'm using it today is wise money. But wise to mean we need to be wise about our money. And my name just fits here. So to let you know that that's what we're going to be talking about today is how to be wise with our money. Money wise. All right. Let me see. All right, there we go. So we're going to talk about what I call the secrets of the wealthy, how to make more, keep more, and become rich. And this is what I want for you. Everybody that works with me, my goal is you become rich. And rich has many definitions, but I mean it in a way that's no bullshit. It's no hype. I'm not selling you how to make $1 million overnight, no shiny pennies. And we're in a world right now where everybody's promising these big, huge promises, how to make $1 million, how to have it go from 0 to a 6-figure business overnight, how to go from a 6 to 7-figure business overnight. And I have to tell you, most of it's bullshit. And we have to be able to sift through so much of the hyperbole and the news and so much of the BS that's out there and really get down to the basics and understand the fundamentals and basics of making money, keeping money, building wealth, building a business. And I have to tell you, what I like to say right off the bat is it's not sexy. If anything has sizzle and almost sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And I have a unique position. Those of you that know me and have worked with me, you know that part of the work that I do is I teach money, I consult money. I'm a money therapist in many cases, but I'm the one like a therapist. So, your therapist, the therapist is the one that gets all your dirty, dark secrets that you would never tell anybody else. And that's what makes it so freeing is because you get to go to a place where you can just be real about things. Well, that's a unique position I hold today in my role in my business is people call me and they share the truth, kind of sometimes the good, the bad, and the deep, dark, ugly of what's really going on behind the scenes. And what I can tell you is what I get from my unique perspective is that what's behind the scenes is very different in the cases I see of what's published up front that we all get to see. So anyway, I just want to let you know that today there's no hype in this, but I'm going to give you like a step-by-step training to really understand how to create full, true financial freedom, how to get out of debt, how to create income that's 100% passive, and the other things on the screen here. So that's what we're going to talk about today are the elements of money that helps you get off what I call this month to month hamster wheel. And that's what money stress is, what money anxiety is, what that money in our gut that, we're just always worrying about this thing called money. We're actually not so much worried about money. What we're worried about is just this month to month and being stuck there. And at some point it gets really old. So does this sound like you? Are you making money in your business, but for some reason your financial situation stays the same? Again, that hamster wheel, you're working harder and harder, but you feel like you're never getting ahead. When you have an incredible month in your business, does the money seem to evaporate? So this is interesting because I watch all these maybe coaches out there that teach other coaches or business people how to have a $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month, $30,000 a month, but they're not teaching how to keep that money. It's one thing to make it, it's another thing to keep it. Do you get blindsided by your tax bill every year and you don't have money set aside for it? This is what I find so many of my customers call about is that they are making a great income and all of a sudden they realize they didn't save enough money for taxes or they don't have enough money for taxes and they get blindsided by a big tax bill. I've been there. I made a lot of money and wasn't paying attention to the taxes because I didn't manage my money and keep record of it. And all of a sudden the IRS was on my ass in the tune of 6 figures. And if you've ever had the IRS on you, it's not fun. So there's two things when it comes to taxes is one, you don't want to pay any more than you have to, but two, you have to pay what you owe. And if not, there could be big consequences for that. And are you carrying debt and feel like that no matter what, you can't escape it? I think the average statistic that I saw is that the average household has on average, I said that word like 3 times. The American household has an average of about $22,000 of credit card debt. So if that stat's true or close to being true, and that doesn't include student loan debt and other debt, I don't even know the trillions of dollars of student loan debt right now, but $22,000 of debt. If we're in $22,000 of personal credit card debt, we can't build wealth. So we have to have a plan for getting out of it. All right. And my thing's really slow here. Do you see other people making income, passive income, but you don't know how they're doing it? And do you feel like you're behind? I talk to people all the time. They're like, Krisstina, like I've reached this age and I just feel like I'm behind. Do you have frequent stress or fights about money with your significant other? When you have large amounts of cash come in the door, do you sometimes feel guilt, fear, unworthiness, and you don't know why? So these are all what I call symptoms of a money problem. We think not having money is our money problem, but not having money is actually a symptom of a problem. So the question is, what is our money problem? And our money problem isn't the fact that we don't have money. It's not that we're month to month. It's not that we're not earning enough. It's not that our business isn't making enough. All of those things is we think that our problem is we don't have enough money. We're not making enough money usually. But the truth is that what the root cause of your money problem is that maybe brought you here today is you don't understand it. You don't understand money. And when I started studying money, that's what I started realizing, like, holy cow, like, how did I not know this? How did I function in a world and not just understanding the basics of money? I was so ignorant and naive. And it just more and more, the more I learned and studied money, the more I realized is how money is not common sense. And how, because money's not taught in school, we're living our adult lives being completely ignorant and illiterate when this thing called money, regardless of how much money we're making. So the question I have, and again, this is where I'm going to ask you to interact. So I can't see the chats right now, but I'm going to just ask you to, every time I ask a question, please put a comment in the chat button. That's going to keep you engaged. So my first question is a yes or no question. If you thought and acted like a millionaire, do you think you would also be a millionaire? And when I say a millionaire, I mean a net worth millionaire, meaning you have $1 million in asset value, $1 million in the bank, in a bank one way or another. So if you thought and acted like a rich person, a wealthy person, do you think you too would be wealthy? All right, I see all your yeses come in. Okay, you guys are awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so if that's true, then what do we need to do? If it's true, you just said yes, that if I knew how to think and act like a wealthy person, I too would be wealthy. If that's true, what do we need to do? We need to learn to think and act like a wealthy person. Sounds easy enough, right? But the truth is, we don't know what to do, and we don't know what wealthy people are doing differently. Only 3% of the US population is financially free. 3%. That means 97% of us are not financially free. So that's a very small statistic. And when I say wealthy people, I'm going to put them in the financially free category, meaning we have enough money from passive income and assets that we don't have to work anymore if we don't want to. And that was my goal when I finally was sick and tired of having money problems, when I finally was sick and tired of being month to month, when I was finally sick and tired of living in that stress, when I was sick and tired of when I was in real estate and I would end the year with all of these awards, I would had medals around my neck around top producer that, top producer this. I won all of the awards on December 20th at the award ceremony. And then on January 1, I started with 0 and had to do it all over again. And I woke up one day and just was like, I'm tired of this. There has to be a better game. And it was like, okay, I am not doing something right because this doesn't work for me. And that was a point of wanting to go and understand this money. And that's what I've done. If I've done anything differently than anyone else that's in the 97%, what's enabled me to reach the 3% is that I studied money. I learned it. I had mentors. I had coaches. I read the books. I did the workshops. I did all the things. And that was the differentiator, was to learn. And what I learned in all of that is that it's a different way of thinking and acting when it comes to money. All right. So once you learn to think and act like a rich person, you have total control over how much money ends up in your pocket every month. You're never surprised by a tax bill. You'll be able to easily and quickly pay down any debt you're carrying, and you'll know how to talk to your partner about money. Every month, you'll find yourself getting richer and richer, making sure there's always a surplus. And that's the thing. When you get on the wealth track, you find yourself getting richer and richer. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Oops, I started. You'll have a renewed relationship with money, knowing that when it comes in, even in huge amounts, it's because you truly deserve it. You'll know exactly where and how to invest your money so that it multiplies without you having to do anything. And you'll be able to build a legacy of wealth for your children and your children's children. The bottom line, making a high income and being rich are two very different things. I'm going to read that again. Making a high income and being rich are two very different things. And what's important to take away from this slide is that, again, all of the hoopla out there that I see on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and I don't know, I mean, it's everywhere. All of the programs out there, all the shiny pennies, all these dazzling, sexy little offers are to help you become rich by helping you make more money. And that's the trap, because we're trying to buy money by buying how to make more of it. And that keeps us always in the chase. It keeps us, money's always out there somewhere. And that's not the mindset of the wealthy. Wealthy aren't chasing money. Wealthy are building money. They're creating money. They have a different relationship with it. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And when you're in the wealth game, which is what we're talking about today, you understand some certain things about the financial system. And money is like a competitive sport, and it's like us against the banks. And the banks are undefeated. So when you don't understand the game, kind of the system that's going on out there, the big system, the consumer market system, is all designed, it's rigged to separate you from your money. So if you don't understand that's happening, you're part of the system. So when you want to be on the wealth track, you have to get out of the system. You have to start doing things differently than what everybody else is doing. And understanding that the credit card companies and banks are making billions of dollars off people who don't understand the money game. Billions. So when we don't understand the money game, we're just a puppet in the game, in their game. Here's a couple statistics. 34 billion are made by banks in overdraft fees. 100 billion in credit card late pays and interest. Please watch the room. Okay. This is the difference between income and wealth. So the wealthy, they're not paying the credit card fees. They're not paying the overdraft fees. They're not paying the late pays. They're not racking up the debt. Why? Because they know that is not, that defeats the wealth. So again, this is what we're going to do today, is talk about the difference. Quick story. That's me. That's a trailer home behind me. Those of you that have known me for a while know my story. But I like to say this, it's truly rags to riches. I started in a trailer home. I've been bankrupt. I've been in a place where I couldn't feed my children, like literally. Houses, cars, everything was taken away, even though I was making hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. So I started here, and I made money and lost it. And I'm sharing with you this, that it's only because I was a student of money and learned this. Now I get to be a teacher, but I was a student of money for 2 decades. that's allowed me to reach financial freedom and build my net worth and build the financial situation that I'm in today. And now I get to teach it. But I like to say I didn't inherit my wealth, marry it, or accidentally figure it out. It's been a road, but I want to shortcut that road for you because I've kind of simplified it. I've distilled it down and made it really easy. But it's really important because to be able to see through a lot of the BS. I have to tell you, I was on Instagram yesterday, and there was a woman on there that I know, and she had a tagline that says self-made millionaire. And I read that and I just called it just made me think like, no, girl, you are not a self-made millionaire. You married your husband who's a millionaire, a multimillionaire. And now because you married your husband, you've put yourself, and he's a self-made millionaire, but you've put yourself in that box. So that's different. Like someone can say I'm a self-made millionaire and it may or may not be true, but this is all of kind of the hyperbole or just the bios and things that are out there. So you just want to make sure when we're on this, like, who are we following? Who are we listening to? Who's got the best stories? Like everybody's out there being coached on how to tell a good story about themselves. About themselves. I'm probably terrible at telling a story about myself, but it's just to understand that there's a lot of false information out there. But rags to riches, the reason why I put this in here is because if I've been able to create what I've created, starting from where I started from and making the $1 million mistakes that I've made and still winding up to where I've wound up today financially, it is available to everyone. And I'm going to teach you today what the 4 steps are that's going to help you do that. Today, I'm debt-free, including being mortgage-free. I have millions in investments accounts earning me millions more. I'm never surprised by a tax bill. I never pay more than I absolutely have to because I have a very serious tax strategy. Wealthy operates according to a strict budget to ensure we're as profitable as possible. We're a profitable company. And I'm building generational wealth for my kids. The last one is really important to me. When my dad passed about 5 years ago, he passed without having $1 to be able to give to his kids. He gave us a lot of love, which was great. But my dad, the way my dad and his wife were able to support themselves for 25 years is because they were on my payroll. So I'm sharing that story because my parents were on my payroll. And you saw that I started in a trailer home. In only one generation, again, even coming from a very impoverished background and schooling system. I came out of college. When I went to college and came out of high school, they used to make fun of me in some of my circles saying, "Did you grow up in a bread box?" Because I was so naive and ignorant just about life because I grew up in this teeny tiny town with a very shitty education system. So I like to even say that coming from no background, no parents that were around back then, and making all the mistakes. In one generation, my kids will get a very nice inheritance. So if we don't study and get good at money for ourselves, then let's at least do it for our children. My children have a radically different life and relationship with money than I did. And that was turned around in one generation. So this is what's available. All right, wealthy people think and act differently. So this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the 4 things that wealthy people do differently than everyone else. And I'm talking about the 3% that are financially free and about the 17 to 18% who are in a good financial position and on track. So about 78 to 85% of people are on what I call the month to month. It's the large majority of everyone you see around you, regardless. Look over there, look over there. All these people that seem they have money figured out and they're making tons of money are peers, and they're bragging about all their businesses online and how much money they're making. Over 80% of them are month to month. So again, these are real statistics. So let this sink in. If these things are true, you can realize like how bad most people's financial situations really are. So, but these are the 4 things that those that are kind of in that 3 to 16, 17, 18% of people who actually have money and wealth and are financially free or on track to become so. So number 1, wealthy people We know what we call our wealth numbers. So that's what we're going to talk about today, or what are your wealth numbers? They know their numbers. 2, they focus on creating a surplus of money. They love surplus because they know surplus is the name of the game. They love their money, manage and track all of it. Every dollar in their business that comes in, every dollar in their business that comes out, every dollar of their money that comes into their household, and every dollar of money that goes out of their household. They track every dollar. There's this belief or myth that it's kind of this funny thing, actually. People that don't have enough money, then they're not managing their money because they're trying to get rich before they manage their money. Then there's another category of those that move from that place to where they're making a lot of money. Now they're like, hey, I'm making so much money. I really don't need to pay attention to it because I've got a lot of money. So nowhere in that equation is the place like, no, I need to really manage and track my money. But that's a different mindset that the wealthy, we track our money. We love it. We love every dollar of it. I was listening to a podcast, one of my favorite people. I listen to podcasts all the time. And I'm listening to podcasts to learn about money and what other people are doing with money all the time. I mean, I can't stop learning about money. But his name is James Wedmore, and he has a podcast, I think, that's Know Your Business or Mind Your Business. And he was talking about money on his podcast, and he's got a really great relationship with money. His business is over a $10 million business, but he talks a lot about his business, but it's not his business. He talks about his wealth and his wealthy mindset. And he was talking about, yeah, I track all my money and I don't overspend. And, I'm not going to spend 10x on something because it's convenient when he was talking about crystals. I think that he was talking about, he lives in Sedona, and that if you go to a Sedona shop, these crystals that he wanted was like $350 for a crystal. And he could go to just the gym warehouse or something and get the same thing for like $50. And he's like, I'm going to take an extra step and go get the $50. Like there's this misbelief that just because we have a lot of money that we're going to overspend on things. But no, the wealthy, they're going to pay attention to, I'm not going to spend more than I have to, but then I'm going to spend on the things that actually really matter. And people laugh at me all the time because I love Facebook Marketplace. And I love Facebook Marketplace because, in fact, this house that we're in right here, it's a couple $1 million house, and it's a beautiful place, totally remodeled it. And I had this Christmas party with a bunch of girlfriends of mine up here in Park City. And I just finished it. In fact, the night before, I had cleaners in it, getting the house ready for this party from all the construction dust and everything. And that day I had the Christmas party. So this was just a little over a month ago. And they were talking about, oh my God, the place is so amazing and blah, blah, blah. And it really is beautiful. And I said, everything that you see came from Facebook Marketplace, the plumbing, the sinks, the light fixtures, the furniture, everything came from Facebook Marketplace. And granted, I had a lot of fun doing it, but I probably saved, I don't know, at least $50,000 off Facebook Marketplace to really furnish this thing. Now, granted, I got a lot of joy out of it, but there's the joy too of just getting the good deal and feeling good about that. So anyway, there's just this myth that, you just overspend when you have a lot of money. It's like, no, we have a lot of money because we don't overspend. And then finally, what wealthy people do is they put their money to work and focus on what I call MSI, which is multiple streams of income. All right. So step 1, again, this is what wealthy people think and do differently that you're not doing. So if you want to get on the wealth track, this is your first step. Your first step is to know your wealth numbers. So write that down. What are my wealth numbers? And this is the first step. And I find it so interesting that people tell me they want to be financially free, yet they don't even do this first step. And what if I said that doing this first step is the difference from you being wealthy and not wealthy? It's like the one thing. If I guaranteed you that this was the one thing that made the difference, would you take time and do the work?
Hey, Mark, I got a favor.
Would you take time and do the work? So this is where I get so like, when I hear people and their money problems all the time and they're complaining and they say they want to be financially free and they want all these things and they don't take the time to do the first step. I want to go, wow, clearly you don't want to be financially free. Clearly you don't want to be wealthy because it's this simple, yet you won't stop and do this first piece. So it escapes me why that's the case, but I won't get into that. But step one, you have to know your wealth numbers. You will never be wealthy if you don't know what wealth is and how much money's enough. So you have to start there. And the first step to becoming rich is knowing your numbers. This is called, what is your financial freedom number? Put that in the box. What is your financial freedom number? What is the destination, the financial destination and goal that you're after? That money number that, hey, when I hit this number, I'm good. I hit it. That's great. I got here. And it's a really good place to be. Again, until you get there, you don't even know how great it feels. And all of a sudden, I hit my number and I'm like, wow, success. This is great. Like, I don't have to do anything else from here and I'm going to be just fine. Now, it doesn't mean it's a stopping place, but when I hit my financial freedom number, it just takes the stress off. It makes life easier. It makes business more fun because I don't have to go like crank it out in order to pay my bills the next month. So you need to know that number. And the problem is, if you don't know where you're headed, how much wealth you want, you will never get there. If you don't know where you're headed, how much wealth is enough, you will never get there. It's just like with Google Maps. If I'm in Park City, there's two things. Like if I'm in Park City and you want to come visit me in Park City, but you don't know where you are today, you can't get here because there's no map if you don't have your starting point. But if you have a starting point that's Austin, Texas, and you don't know your destination, you're not going to go anywhere either. So this is just a natural law that you have to know where you are and where you want to go to get from point A to point B. It's pretty simple. And you need your goal. If you say you want financial abundance, that's great, but it's vague. You need to know financial abundance as a number. All right, so I've got a quiz here. So we'll see how you guys are paying attention. And we're going to put the quiz up. And the quiz is, how wealthy are you? So here's the exercise. And then we'll put up the quiz so you can answer the question. So wealth basically is how long you can last. So you think about how much money is sitting around that has cash value. So let's say you have money in a 401k. Let's just say, there's $100,000 in a 401k. Let's say that you have, I don't know, some cash sitting around. Look around in your house and think, if I could sell anything. Just try to come up with a number of like, how much are you worth? That you sold everything that you have, equity that might be in your house, but it has to be equity, not the market value, the equity after the loan. So if you sold everything, what would be left over? How much money would that be? So let's say everything, it would be $50,000. So that's step one, is determine how much are you worth. Step two, or part two. Part two is, how much does it cost to live your life every month? Your lifestyle, how much your bills every single month? So let's say that the total amount of equity cash that we could have access to, that you could have access to, let's just say it was 25,000. And let's say that your monthly bills are 5,000. That means your wealthy number is 5 months. You have $25,000 and your bills are 5,000, meaning if you couldn't work tomorrow, you would have 5 months worth of money to live off of. All right, so do you follow? You want to find out how much money you have that's available in a cash, could be sold for cash. How much money you spend on your lifestyle every month, which is your household bills. And then the third piece is the quality of life. So in other words, if you have money in your primary residence, and let's just say you have $100,000 equity in your primary residence, you could sell the house and get the 100,000 out, but where would you live? Right? So again, you have to look at your primary residence, probably doesn't count. You may or may not want to sell your cars. So the third rule here is that your quality of life doesn't change. You live in the same house, you drive the same cars. All right. So how wealthy are you? Sold all of your assets, got all your money, cost of your lifestyle, and your lifestyle doesn't change. So go ahead and fill out the number. Are you 3 months wealthy? Are you 4 to 12 months wealthy? Are you 12 to 24 months wealthy? Or you're 24 plus months wealthy? Meaning, how long could you live off of selling everything that you have other than what you have to maintain your current quality of life? All right, 40% have participated so far. So what this is telling me is that some of you have the thing on, but aren't listening or paying attention. Anyway, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. I'm going to do where 50% of you are participating. So 52%. Excellent. Awesome. All right. So I'm looking at the results here and we'll share those. It looks like 33% of us are 0 to 3 months. 28% of us are 4 to 12 months, 22% are 12 to 24, and 17% are 24 plus. All right, that's awesome. So that's great. Now, let me ask you this. For those of you that are less than 3 months, how much stress is there in your life compared to those of you that have over 2 years worth of money available that you wouldn't have to work for 2 years and still be able to pay your bills? Can you understand that's a very different stress level for those that, I mean, if you don't have enough money to pay your bills in 3 months, it's very different than if you can not work and pay your bills for over 24 months. That runway gives you a lot of time to figure out like, oh, what do I need? What can I do differently? That type of thing. And I guess the rule that I didn't say is that you couldn't ever work again. So what it says is that your money's going to run out. And that means we don't have wealth when we're dependent on our income, our working income. And that's what we're getting at today. So the idea is to be financially free means we never run out of money. There's always plenty of money to pay our bills, whether we work or not. All right. So can you answer these wealth questions? What is wealth as a number? Kind of even a confusing question. You might be like, well, what do you mean wealth is a number? But this is the thing. So when these are very obvious questions and answers to me, because I understand the money game and I've studied it, and that makes complete sense. But if it doesn't even make sense, we've got a problem. What is your financial freedom number? What is your net worth number? Again, this is step one. If you don't know your financial freedom number, the chances that you will ever be financially free or even close to it are practically impossible. How wealthy are you now? We just discovered that number. Here's a question. Do you have a personal balance sheet? Wealthy people have a personal balance sheet. We live by our balance sheet. We love our balance sheet. We understand the importance of a balance sheet, and we're always managing the balance sheet. Do you know your total annual household income? Do you know your net worth gap? Do you know how much it costs to live your life annually? And do you know your household income gap? So these are all questions you need to know the answer to if you're in the wealth game. As a wealthy person, we of us in the wealth game, all of these numbers matter. We know what our net worth gap is. We know what our household income gap is. We know exactly how much it costs to live our life annually. We know how much household income we're bringing in to the penny. Yes, we have a balance sheet. Yes, we know how wealthy we are. Yes, we know what our wealth is as a number and our financial freedom number. So that's the difference between wealthy and everyone else, is that they know these numbers. Step two. All right. So we just talked about step one. This is the first thing that wealthy people do that non-wealthy month-to-month people don't do, is they know their numbers. So that's your first step, is to know the numbers and be able to answer all those questions in those boxes that I just gave you. Step two, meaning this is a second thing for you to do to get off the month-to-month hamster wheel trap and into the wealth game. And it's called, I call it interrupting Parkinson's law. I hope this sticks. When I teach in my money course, my Curbs money course, this is one of the things, is a big aha moment for almost all of my students, is to be taught that there's this thing called Parkinson's law. And here's the word, it's called law. So this is a law, meaning it's like, it should be one of the 10, the 11th commandment. Like if there was a money commandment that really talks about this, it would be Parkinson's law. And Parkinson's law says this, it's a wealth crusher. And what it says is expenses will always rise to match income. And what was once a luxury becomes a necessity. So just think about that for a second, because the myth is the number one money myth, I believe, that's out there is this belief. This is the money belief that gets everybody in trouble. And it's this belief that more money is the answer to all of my money problems. If I could just make more money, if my business just made more money, if I got a raise and could make more money, that's the belief. And that belief keeps us working harder. We increase our income. We go from 5 figures to 6 figures of household. Maybe we go from 100,000, 150 to 200,000, and so on and so forth. But we never get any wealthier. So we make more money, but we never get wealthier. And that's because of this thing called Parkinson's law. And here's the thing, we're all after these high incomes, but high incomes are deceptive. High incomes make you feel rich, and feeling rich is great. You feel rich, you get to show off to your friends and eat at the fancy restaurants and drive the fancy cars and have your big fancy house and take your really fancy vacations where you can show off the photos on Facebook and all the things. And it feels great. You worked hard. You're showing it off. Nothing wrong with that. But this is where it gets you in trouble, because this high income boxes you into a lifestyle that drains you of your wealth. Meaning you have a high income, you live in the lifestyle, but you're still month to month and you have no wealth and you're not on the path to the wealthy. And that's where it's deceptive, because you feel rich, but you're not. And I call it high income broke. And I'd say a good portion of those that come to work with me are in that category of high income broke, meaning they feel rich because they can afford a lifestyle, but they're financially stressed out all the time because they don't have money that's going to last more than 3 months. Meaning, and the more money you make in high incomes, the more stressful it can be, because if you have a lifestyle that's 90,000 a year and you have the stress to produce $90,000 worth of income for a household, that's a different stress level than if your income is, if your lifestyle costs you 500,000 and you have no wealth, and every month you have to go produce that amount of money that's going to pay the next month's bills. It's a shitload of pressure. But we don't think about this because we're in what we call the income game, not the wealth game. So when you believe you're rich, you spend accordingly. And being rich isn't simply about the money. There are plenty of people making $500,000 a year that I know and work with who are drowning in bills. And then I know plenty of people who make 100,000 that are financially secure and happy. So you have to break this belief that making more money is the answer to all of my money problems. Also, high income earners, usually salespeople, fall in the trap of what I call high income optimism. There's somebody in the waiting room. Meaning I'll just make more. So I have a friend of mine that before he took the course, I hear this all the time. And he said that that was the first thing he said. He's like, Krisstina, just really don't worry about my money, because I can just go out and sell another person and make that $30,000 per sale. And that's what I call that high income optimism. Like that's always going to be able to be the case. So we have to get out of these traps. So Parkinson's law means the reason why is because our expenses always rise to match income. And then once we have these luxuries in this luxury lifestyle, we don't want to change it. So this is what keeps us trapped. And we're spending everything you make is automatic. And this is why more income is not the solution. So the wealth creator, meaning the Parkinson's law is the wealth crusher. The wealth creator means we need to create a money margin. And a money margin is a wealth principle. So what the wealth principle says that that wealth is in the margin, and that's where your wealth lives. What that means then is if you have no margin, you have no wealth or wealth creation opportunity. So when we live in a month to month, what I call the break even, we have no margin, no wealth. And that's because Parkinson's law eats up all of our money. When we get out of college and we make 50,000 a year, we go from $20,000 bills, that's all we could afford in college, to $50,000 worth of bills. Then we work hard and get our career started in our mid 20s, and then we turn 30 and we're making $100,000. Now our lifestyle expenses, our cost of living, our bills went from $50,000 to $100,000, and that goes on forever. Never any margin. So this is what we want to do: is we have to start creating a surplus. So the first thing for you to do is you need to know your margin. Second thing you need to do is you have to manage your expenses. This is the thing, like, you're not going to become wealthy if you don't manage your expenses. Why? You have to manage your expenses. If not, Parkinson's law will take effect. It's a law. It's going to happen automatically. It's insidious. You don't even know that it's happening. It's always at work. And the counter against that is to manage your expenses. And this is a big one. Now, this one is most people don't want to manage their expenses or even look at their money. But here's the thing: you have to vary your expenses according to your income to always keep a margin. And what I mean by that is that if you so the real estate industry, I have a lot of clients who are in real estate, who are really successful real estate agents. And the last few years before this last year, they were rolling in the money. So maybe they went from making, let's say, $100,000 a year household income to $300,000 household income. They're working hard, taking advantage of the market. That's great. But what happened to their expenses? I noticed all these houses started changing, and all the cars they were driving changing, and all of the lifestyle expenses really went up. And it's as though the money is always going to be just like that. No margin. Parkinson's law, that expense creep, totally in effect. And now, this year, and most of last year, the marketplace, the economy radically changed. Do you think the real estate agents, do they want to get rid of their big fat car payment that they could afford 3 years ago? Do you think they want to downsize the house that they upsized to? Do you think that they want to change things? No, because that second part of Parkinson's law says what was once a luxury becomes a necessity. We don't want to get rid of these luxuries. And here's the truth about money: it's cyclical. I've had years where I've made over $1 million a year household income, and I've had years where it settles down to maybe my base that is, $300,000 or $400,000 a year. But it's big varies. So my big years, when I've had $1 million years, yeah, I upped my lifestyle. And then when the down years, I correct my expenses and go down to that. And what is it? It goes like this: is, I don't know if you can see this, but you always have a margin, which is this delta between the money you make and the money you spend. And no matter where it is, if you make more money, your expenses can go up, but you always have that same margin. And when money income comes down, that margin stays the same. And this is one of the most important things to realize and to know: that when you're in the wealth game, you always have a margin. You don't have break even, which means that, you spend the same amount of money that you make. So this is crucial. And again, this is something different than the wealthy do. And you have to get over what other people think about you. You have to get over the status symbols and all the things that we get locked into. Enjoy your money. Spend it when you have it, keep in a margin. Reduce it when you don't have it, keep in your margin. And yeah, be playful with your money, but don't let these other things, like feeling entitled and status and luxury and convenience and comfort, and feel all of a sudden we're entitled to these things because we made a high income last year. We can't adopt that. Like, money is always something we're working on. And then the final thing is you have to pay your future self first. So we're going to talk about that. But these are all part of step 2, that you have to create a surplus every month. You have to create that margin. And this slide here is what allows you to be recession proof. So I think we're in a recession. What I can tell you, to everybody listening, and I'd be curious if you want to put this in the chat, I have at least 2 to 3 calls every day, and 2 to 3 calls that are on my calendar every day in between all the other work that I'm doing as a business owner. is that I'm either having kind of peer-to-peer calls, like other business owners and people I'm talking to, just to, is that keep building and keeping those relationships, or I'm giving coaching calls. I'm talking and coaching people with money, either clients or prospective clients. And what I'm hearing in the marketplace right now, and let me know if you agree, is that this year, kind of like starting mid last year in 2023 up until now, what was working, making money, especially in the online space, is no longer working. And the chatter among my peer group and my customers and prospective customers are saying, Krisstina, what was working 18 months ago is no longer working. And I'm feeling I have to pivot, change. People aren't spending money like they used to, all these things. And so that happens. The economy is cyclical. It goes up and it goes down. It goes up and it goes down. Money doesn't just go straight up like we think it's going to be. So it's understanding that to become recession proof, your recession proof is being able to do everything on this slide, because you're able to change your expenses if your income goes down. You're okay changing your lifestyle. You know how much it costs and what all your expenses are because you're managing them, and you're always creating that margin. So to get out, to become recession proof, is managing your money. And again, people are working really hard to try to make more to solve their money problems. And again, that's not the first step. The first steps are what we're talking about here. So this process ensures that your personal net worth goes up and up regardless of the changes to your business or personal income. So this is what it looks like. I call it the surplus. So everything in the pink there is surplus. This is the margin. I teach it in business terms called profit first. And so profit means that we're working, like everything that we're doing, we have what I call a profit mindset. So what people don't talk with, there's all this money mindset. Oh, just learn a mindset and you'll be rich. Again, bullshit. Yes, there is an abundance mindset, but you have to know what is underneath the abundance. And one of those things underneath is what I called a profit mindset. So profit mindset, it means that you understand profit, you get profit, you're after profit, and that's your job, is to create profit. So you see in the business slide here, the pink is profit. So revenue minus all of your expenses equals profit. Again, a lot of the BS out there to be aware of is people will say, hey, let me show you how to do a 6-figure business overnight. And they'll teach you their launch strategy and you'll make 6 figures. But what they didn't tell you, it's going to cost you 6 figures to make the 6 figures. So if you make $100,000 next month, but you spend $101,000 making it, was that successful? But you don't hear the second piece. You just hear like, hey, I made $1 million by doing XYZ. And so you're like, hey, I want to make $1 million too doing XYZ. But what they don't tell you in the fine print is that, oh, it's going to cost you $1 million and one to be able to create that million. And that's where that's where you have to really cut back the layers. So profit's what's left over. So those of you that are business owners and entrepreneurs, you have to understand that that profit is what you're focused on in your business. And I teach a profit first model in my Curbs for Business program. So if you want to learn business, and if you want to become a profitable business, and you want to have 6 figures of profit, work with me. Inquired about my Curbs for Business program, where I teach you how to be a profitable business owner and get out of the hype. And again, I should have the statistics in front of me, so I won't say them. But the percentage of businesses that make over 6 figures of profit is less than 20%. You think of all the small businesses out there. I wish I had the exact number for you. But again, there's just, when you look at these stats, you'll understand and see that there must be a lot of BS in the marketplace if these are the real numbers. So we move that $100,000 of profit from our business and we move it to our household. Now your household needs profit. And this is the margin. That's what margin is in our business. It's our profit margin means the difference between the money the business makes and the money that the business keeps. The money the business keeps, that $100,000, we move it over to our household. So now our household needs margin. And that's what I call profit first in your household. And profit first in your household means of the 100,000, we're going to move 10% out automatically to move it to the third place called investment. So I'm going to automatically create that margin that And you get to determine, when I say determine your margin, it means that you have a 10% margin, a 20% margin. So my business margin in the left-hand circle there, the business margin, I look for a business margin for about 30 to 35%. That's the business margin I'm working for in Wealthy, for example. Now that margin pays me the money. I move from the pink in the business over the household. Now my margin in my household is 20%. So if I moved over $100,000, 20% is my margin. That means if I moved over $100,000 that month, 20%, meaning $20,000, is going to move over to the third circle, which is the investment circle. Now, if I made a $200,000 month or year, whatever your number is, then I would move $40,000. If I had a $20,000 month that I paid myself $20,000, then 20% of that would be $4,000. So I'm always going to have a margin, which is the thing there, and that's the profit. And it's in that middle household profit pink. That's the difference between if you will become wealthy or not. The business makes money, but how you build wealth is how you manage the money in your household, because no money in your household, no profit, no investments, which means no asset/passive income. And then you create profit or cash flow in your assets. And that's a different conversation for a different day. The key takeaway from this slide is you have to get out of the break even. If your business brings in 300,000 and it costs 300,000 to operate it, it's break even. You can't stay in business. If your household makes $100,000, but you spend $100,000, there's no margin. You're at break even. There will be no wealth. Your household will go out of business, so to speak. So this is the difference, is you have to create a surplus. But here's the deal. When you do this, all these things, you will always create a surplus, but here's the catch. You must make creating a surplus conscious and deliberate. It has to be systematic. You have to do it. It does not happen automatically. Surplus is by your action, being in your books, and it's by step 3. So if you want to get out of the month-to-month hamster wheel and into the wealth building surplus, financial space, financial security, financial stability, having wealth beyond that 3 months, your wealthy number beyond 3 months. This is what wealthy people do. I love my money, not in a greedy way, but I love my money. I appreciate my money. I spend so much time with my money. I have a really healthy love affair with my money. Anybody that knows me knows I'm in my money all the time. And I'm not watching it like a hawk, like, oh my God, it might go away. And oh my God. No, it's out of love and appreciation for it. Every night at dinner, we talk about, we do gratitudes at dinner. And it's just part of the gratitude every night at dinner. Brad and I do this gratitude practice, kind of like our prayer before dinner. And we say what we're grateful for every night before we take a bite of food. And every night it's like, thank you, Mother You, for all this financial abundance. Thank you for all these financial lessons. Thank you for all of the money that we have, that we get to use, enjoy. Thank you for the knowledge and stuff that we get to share. So it's part of the gratitude. So there's a love and appreciation for it. And if you don't have a love and appreciation for your money, you're not going to do these other pieces, which is to manage and track it. So Catherine, who is my bookkeeper and works with my books, she can attest that I'm in my money all the time, and we're talking about it all the time. And I'm giving her directives of do this and that. She's moving my money to the different buckets that we're going to talk about, all these things. And I put Catherine on so that she can wave to you. And I bring people on to keep me honest. Brad can keep me honest, saying, hey, that every night we have these gratitude practices, for example. So, but we manage and track every dollar in every single bank account. I probably have 20 different bank accounts, and we're looking at it, managing it, looking at the profit and losses, looking at all the reports. And that's just part of it. And I love doing it. And I think Catherine does too. I mean, she loves being in the money, and seeing it grow and all these things. But if you're not managing your money, if you're not looking at it, if you're not paying attention, if you're avoiding it and staying out of QuickBooks and staying and thinking like, hey, if I stick my head in the sand, it's all going to work out. You're defeating yourself. You're keeping yourself on the broke cycle. What broke is month to month, regardless of how much money you're making. So you have to love, manage, and track every dollar. That's what I was saying with James Wedmore. Like he's saying, hey, I track my money. I manage it. I don't just wastefully spend extra hundreds of dollars here or there. Could I? Yes. But I'm still in my wealth building track. So I'm not going to just squander my money, but I'm going to spend a lot of money on the things that are meaningful. All right. So to be able to love, track, and manage your money, you have to have a money management system. Ta-da! You have to have a money management system. Now, here's a little takeaway. I'm hoping I'm saying things today that kind of breaks your normal common sense around money. You have to have uncommon sense when it comes to money. Your common sense is what is killing you financially. So here's the thing. People ask me all the time. They say, hey, Krisstina, can I use the money app on my phone to track my money? Can I use Mint, or can I use, I don't know, there's 10,000 different apps these days. Are those things better than nothing? Yes. But here's the thing. You have to manage all of your money. That means income, expenses, and cash and assets. And I'm going to explain what this means in a minute. So I'm going to say this again. To be wealthy, you have to manage your income, your expenses, your cash, your assets on the fifth one, your liabilities. So there's 5 things you have to be looking at and tracking if you're in the wealth game. I'll say it again. Somebody's in the room. You have to track your income, your expenses, your cash, your assets, and your liabilities. Now, let me ask you, does that app on your phone help you track those 5 things? No. There might be good little budgeting tools, but even though I'm saying you need to track your expenses and manage them, you have to manage these other 4 parts of money also. And just managing your expenses, oh, by the way, will not make you rich. It's one of the 5, but just budgeting. That's why budgeting is such a stupid word, because people don't know what budgeting is. If you're just budgeting to try to make sure to manage your expenses through your app to make sure you don't spend $1 more than the amount of money in the account, game over. Yeah, that can keep you successfully on the month to month, but it's not going to make you rich. And this is what people aren't telling you, even selling you the app. So if you're in the wealth game, you're managing all of these 5 elements of money, and you're moving your money. So money needs momentum. It has to move. That's when people say money's energy, only if you create energy with it. So you have to move it and move it from this account to that account and grow this account. So this in Curbs, my Curbs Money Mastery class, this is the framework, the modality, the model that I teach that gets you on the wealth creation track. Is you take in all this money and then you separate it into these different categories and buckets and you manage it. So I don't have time to go through that, but you can just glance over how it works. But in the wealth game, you consciously and deliberately track and manage every dollar of income and expenses. You give each dollar a job. You categorize and itemize based on all those categories you see there. You move your money to create cash flow. You want to flow your cash. You move cash from bucket to bucket to bucket to move to this. And again, if you ask Catherine, and anybody interviewed Catherine and said, hey, what does Krisstina do with your money? She'd be saying, I'm moving money all the time. She's moving money all the time, because I know money has to move if I'm going to create momentum, and momentum is what creates more of it. So when you want financial abundance, it's when money is moving and making more money, and this money over here drains this money and that money. And it's fabulous. And it's so much fun when you really get in this relationship with your money and moving it, because you see the magic and how it just loves to be tended to. I don't know. Does anybody here have a dog? And when you take the dog for a walk, is the dog so happy to be outside and all the sniffs and smells and wagging their tail and running around? You walk your dog, and the dog just loves being taken on a walk. Your money loves being taken on a walk. It just loves when you spend this time with it. So I'm probably overemphasizing this, but again, you'll see that it's not accidental. It's not static. It's not, just make more money and it's all going to work out. It's a very active engagement, relationship, and behaviors you have with your money. If you're in the wealth game, if you're just in the income game trying to make more money, none of this matters. And then finally, we'll do something called running a business and household profit and loss. All right. So you need to follow a system and use a system to manage your money. I recommend QuickBooks Online. Again, why? Because it manages these 5 elements of money and your app doesn't. And people say, oh, I don't want to learn QuickBooks, or wah, it's a big system, or wah, why do I even have to do this at all? If you want to say wah, then too bad. But if you want to be wealthy, you use QuickBooks or a QuickBooks-like system, because you have to manage all the elements of the money. And QuickBooks is a business system. It's about managing money for profit, for large profits. Big businesses use QuickBooks. Financial, like all the CFOs and different things, they use QuickBooks. Why? Because when your business really cares about money, and when you really care about your money, you use systems to do so. You become a household CFO. You become the CFO. I want you to think like, I'm the CFO of my household, whose job is to create generational wealth for my family. And you have to get on the same page with your spouse. Not being on the same page with your spouse makes money creation and wealth creation really difficult. And I love it when spouses take my programs and do the work together. They have these amazing results. And so few people do this work with their spouse. But again, getting on the same page with your spouse just makes money a lot easier. All right, so I'm going to do a poll here. And what you see on the screen behind you, this is an example of QuickBooks. And so can't really see it, but that's called a household profit and loss. So here's a quiz. And the quiz is, do you run a monthly business profit and loss? And do you run a monthly household profit and loss? So go ahead and take those. All right. Okay, awesome. So I'm just pausing here while you guys take this. Do you run a monthly profit and loss? Do you run a personal profit and loss, or a personal balance sheet, therefore, the balance sheet? All right. I'll give just 5 more seconds here. Take the poll. Do you run a monthly profit and loss in your business? And do you have a personal balance sheet? All right, so let's end the poll for the results. All right, so do you run a monthly profit and loss in your business? 33% yes, 67% no. Here's the wealth fact. If you want to be a 6-figure, 7-figure profit business, you have to run a monthly profit and loss, if not bi-monthly. So that needs to be a big aha here, is that business is money. Business is a game of money. And if you're running a business and terrified of the money, you're not spending time with it, or just intimidated by it, or tell us as a story, I'm not smart enough, I need the bookkeepers to do that, you're robbing yourself. You're setting yourselves up for financial failure. So running a profit and loss is actually pretty easy, especially when you use QuickBooks, and look at the slide here. But you need a business profit and loss. Again, my curves for business, I teach you how to do this and how to love the money in your business and how to run your business by money. The second question, do you have a personal balance sheet? And yes is 28%, no is 72%. So again, the wealth game, when you're in the wealth game, you have a balance sheet. And where everybody else is focused on making more income, you're focused on building a bigger balance sheet. And that's the difference between me and a lot of other people. Is I know how much money I make, but I'm only focused on the amount of money I make as a means to help me build my balance sheet, to build that net worth, to create that passive income. So that's the difference, is you have to have a personal balance sheet if you're in the wealth game. All right, moving on. And again, hopefully these quizzes are just kind of eye-opening a little bit. And when we're on the month to month, then we can see I don't have a business P&L, I don't have a personal balance sheet. That goes on to show why maybe we're in our financial situation. Okay, so just some wealth systems and tools. That here's a business profit and loss. The business brought in $1 million, cost of sales 250, gross profit 750. The cost of doing business is 425, which means there was profit of 325,000, which was a 30% profit margin. Now we move that 325 into household income, and we move $75,000 into a tax bucket, $65,000 into a investment bucket, leaving us $315,000 to spend. And our lifestyle burn is 252,000, and our other buckets we put in 63,000, which eats up all of the money. So this is the process that I teach, is that to make most people, if they make 300, let's say 25,000, they're spending 325,000 and they're not creating a surplus in these other buckets. A personal balance sheet. So I recommend everybody have a personal balance sheet. You'll see here, I call it Krisstina Corp. This is my personal balance sheet. You'll just see non-liquid assets, liquid assets, business assets for total assets, minus all the other, minus debts and liabilities, equals a total net worth. So this is what a balance sheet looks like. And this is what you're working on. And you want your balance sheet to say $1 million. And so when I say, do you want to be a millionaire? That means you have a balance sheet that shows $1 million. And that needs to be your number one first goal. That if you're not already a millionaire by net worth, your first financial goal needs to be, I want to become a millionaire. And I don't mean you don't say it, you frickin' mean it. I want to be a millionaire. I want to get out of this month-to-month game. I want to be a millionaire. I want to have net worth and passive income. And gosh darn it, I'm going to learn to think and act like a millionaire. And I'm going to do it because I'm sick and tired of the shit show roller coaster I've been on. And you have to get that way and emotionally finally commit. And those that do, like I got there, that's where you make the difference. And so that's a balance sheet. All right, step 4. And I've got about 15 more minutes of teaching. And then we'll go on to the second part. So step 4, the fourth thing that millionaires, wealthy, financially free people do, wealthy people do, is they put their money to work. So your step 4 then is you have to put your money to work. And where does that money come from? It comes from that surplus, that margin. So a faulty mindset is the more money I have means the more stuff I can buy to try to buy that happiness. A wealth mindset says, I buy assets, not expenses. So most of us, when we're making more money, according to Parkinson's law, we're buying more stuff. And we usually buy it in the form of more leisure, more comfort, more luxury, more convenience, more status, that type of thing. But we're trying to buy the happiness. Those in the wealth game, they're buying assets. They're not buying expensives. They're not buying a more expensive lifestyle. They're buying assets that are going to cover the cost of paying for their lifestyle. So you'll see it's a radically different system and mindset. All right, so here's an exercise, and it comes with another quiz. What would you do today if today was your last paycheck? And this kind of goes back to the question of how wealthy are you? But I think this is an important question. What would you do today if today was your last paycheck? If I waved a magic wand and said, you can no longer work to make money. Nobody in your household can work to make money. What would you do? And here's just to look at this is that $1 million of net worth, let's say minimum, produces $50,000 a year of passive income. That's about $4,100 per month. And $4,100 per month basically is the average cost, $50,000 a year, of what it costs to just survive in the US for your mortgage, rent, groceries, healthcare expenses, car, transportation. So what that means is if you want to ever retire, you need $1 million basically in some form or fashion that's going to cover just the basics. And if you want to retire, be financially free more than just the basics, you even need more. But it's to understand that this is how it works. So I like to say an exercise, that's not the exercise we're going to do now, but something to do maybe later on, is write down the answer to this question. In 20 years, I would not want. In 20 years, I don't want to be month to month. In 20 years, I don't want to, I don't know, I don't want to be unhealthy. In 20 years, I don't want to be alone, like whatever it is, but to write down in 20 years, I don't want to be month to month. In 20 years, I don't want to have to work this hard. In 20 years, I don't want to blank. All right, so we're going to put up the quiz now. And the quiz is this exercise. What would you do today if today was your last paycheck? Oh, you guys have already taken it. I didn't see that. All right, so I'm going to just give a couple more seconds here, 10 more seconds. All right, 47% participated. I'm trying to see if we can hit 50%, to see if 50% of you are engaged and paying attention, which would probably be good for this group, for this being online for this amount of time. All right, so we'll stop it there. We'll end the poll. Oh, we got 53. Good job, guys. You guys rock. All right. What would you do if today was your last paycheck? 12% would beg my parents for money. 6% look for change under my sofa cushions. 0 said sell my blood plasma. That's what I would do. I actually sold plasma in college to be able to pay for college. So I've done that. And call Krisstina 82%. Yahoo! Good answer. Good answer. All right, you guys are awesome. I did sell my blood, and that's kind of a funny story. That I did that the first time, and I totally went dark. I passed out and hit my head and all sorts of things. So anyway, story for another day. All right, good job, guys. All right, so we're gonna we have about 10 more minutes to go over number 4. And then, like I said, after that, I'll give you guys a choice to stick with me or not. So multiply your money. So the headline here is, if you want to be financially free, if you want to be a net worth millionaire, if you want to get off the month-to-month hamster wheel, if you want to get out from under all the financial stress, tension, conflict, anxiety, the way you do that is you become a student of money. You have to become a student of the wealth game. There's no shortcut. There's a reason why over 80% of this country is mostly month to month. Money's not taught in school. I wish it were taught in school. My goal one day is to get what I teach into schools. But until that happens, everything that you think and know about money is what's defeating you. Your current beliefs, your current mindsets, your current patterns, your current ignorance, your current illiteracy when it comes to money. It's not your fault. It wasn't taught. We didn't even know that we needed to know these things. But financial ignorance and naivete and high concept is what is keeping everybody broke. The statistics don't lie. And just another thing, I was talking, who was I talking to? I can't remember, but it was somebody who had played for the NFL, and we just met them, I don't know, not too long ago. I can't, maybe so, yeah. And I asked, I said, I'm just really curious, what percentage of NFL players are broke after they retire? And he said like 78%. So here's these NFL players that are making millions of dollars in their contracts, even the ones, that aren't household names, and they're broke. 78% of them are broke within 2 to 5 years of retiring for the NFL. So there's just an example of they're making millions and they still wind up broke. It's why? Because they're financially ignorant, illiterate, don't understand money, and just thought as long as they made millions, they were going to be fine. It's not true. We know all the lottery winners stories. All right, so you have to become a student of the wealth game. You need to learn. You need to read the books, listen to the podcasts, work with me or somebody like me. But even the book and podcasts aren't going to get you there because it's too confusing. Money's talked about all these different ways and places and things and ideas to do, and it just makes it more confusing than ever. So if you become a student of the wealth game, find a mentor, find a coach, find a program, a class. I don't know, maybe it's even at your community college, something in town. I can help you. If I'm not the right person, then find somebody like me, gosh darn it. But you get in this, become a student of money. Commit to, gosh darn it, I am finally going to do something differently, because you are programmed and patterned. You will stay exactly stuck, where you are. Think where you were 5 years ago. I was having a conversation with a prospective student that they actually just signed up with me to take this money mastery class I'm going to be talking about. And a couple, and I talked to them in 2020 about, some of their money issues in a consultation, and talked to them about, guys, I'd really like you to enroll in my class, and here's why. In 2 years, we're going to have you completely out of this situation. And here we are 2 years later. I talked to them earlier this week, and they set up a call with me, and they're in a couple, and they just said, Krisstina, I'm being very vulnerable. This is our financial situation. It's terrible. I could go on and on. And they both said, man, if we just would have taken this class 2 years ago, we wouldn't be here. At the time, we thought it was too expensive. We didn't want to spend the money. And now we've been watching some of your master classes and things, and realized the biggest mistake we made was not working with you 2 years ago. And now we're like in a worse financial situation taking it versus where we were before. So that's what we don't want to do, that 2 years from now, you're going to be in the same situation, but worse, because when we get older, the lack of money, the lack of wealth becomes more stressful. So just keep in mind, sooner is better than later. Your future self is not going to make better decisions. All right, so here's the thing. There's something called the rule of 72. Put in the chat if you know what the rule of 72 is. Do we have anybody out there? What is the rule of 72? All right, so double money, yeah. All right, so if you're in the wealth game, you know what the rule of 72 is, because you love this rule. It's like another law. Let's call it, we had Parkinson's law. Let's call it the law of 72. So when we're in the wealth game, we love these laws, because laws are laws. And as long as you follow the law, voila, you're going to get the results the law says that you're going to get, the negative results or the positive ones. So we don't want to be victim of Parkinson's law, and we want to manage our expenses so that we don't become that. So the rule of 72, someone says, how my dad made me write a report on the rule of 72 when I was in high school. Love that, dad. Darn, I wish I'd done that with my kids. So the rule of 72 is take 72, the number 72, and divide it by an interest rate. So what this says is, it says at that interest rate, your money will double in that number of years. So let me give you an example. If you can get a 10% return on money invested, take 72 divided by 10%, that equals 7.2 years. So that means your money will double in 7.2 years at a 10% interest rate. So if you have $100,000 in somewhere invested and is getting a 10% IR, it will be $200,000 in 7.2 years. If it keeps getting that 10%, it's going to be worth $400,000 in 15 years. If you don't put any more money into it and you keep getting 10%, it's going to be $800,000. So you're like 21 years into it. And then it just keeps doubling. But now imagine you keep putting more money into it, how it continues to grow. If you start with $250,000, let's say I talk to people all the time that get an inheritance or something, and they pay off their debt and spend the rest. Imagine you put that $250,000, invest it at 10%, and it just keeps doubling every 7.2 years. A lot of my investments get close to 20%, somewhere between 15 and 20%. Now, don't ask me where I get 20%. That's, that's a whole different game. But assuming that I do, that means I can double my money in 3.6 years, because you take 72 divided by 20%. If the best you're going to get is 8% divided by 8%, you choose your number. But it's to understand that your working income, you're not going to keep doubling it every number of years. You're going to reach a ceiling or a limit. But this is money, and you're not working any harder for it. It's doubling all on its own without you doing a darn thing. So this is what wealthy people understand that everybody else doesn't, is understanding what compounding is. So you have to leave the income game and play the wealth game. I've been talking that over and over. You have to know your balance sheet. Your wealth number becomes your financial North Star. You need to invest your surplus to buy assets and build a portfolio. No surplus, no assets. And you have to understand compound interest and multiply your money using the rule of 72. And finally, you have to create multiple streams of income. And this is what's left out many times, but there is a kind of a golden rule of wealth that says to be a millionaire, you need at least 5 streams of household income. So multiple streams of income is what we're after, because usually one stream isn't going to be enough. And then kind of where all this comes together is this is what we're working on. When you commit to become wealthy, you're working on your business profit and loss and your household profit and loss. You have a personal balance sheet and you're looking at these 5 pieces of money. You're following your income, always working on making more income, of course. And income, want to move from one income stream to many income streams. And then you're managing your expenses. You're watching your expenses. You're really working to grow your grow your assets and reduce your liabilities and manage your cash flow and really understand the game is about cash. So there is a game that I used to play all the time. It was a Robert Kiyosaki game called Cash Flow. And I love playing the game. Cash Flow is a great game. It's something to pick up with your kids, for example. I used to do that with my kids when they were young, and we had a lot of fun playing it. But it teaches you through the game how to think about money in wealth terms. All right, to wrap us up here, why you're not wealthy? Because you only focus on your money. You don't you focus on your business. You don't track your money, and you don't understand the cost of your lifestyle. So if you spend $750 on a lease payment for your BMW, in 20 years, that BMW will be worth 0. In 40 years, that BMW will be worth 0. If you instead got rid of the BMW lease payment and put that $750 lease payment and you invested it in 20 years, it would be worth $600,000 and it'd be worth $5 million in 40 years, $5 million in 40 years. So if you're 25 and you don't go get the BMW when you start making 100,000 and you put that 750 instead into the market and just let it ride, you're going to be worth $5 million. But I call it the $5 million BMW because we're spending our money, giving it to the banks, the BMW banks, as opposed to our bank. All right, to wrap us up here. So one more example of multiplying your money. What if you shaved $5,000 expenses between your business and household? All right, so just look at this. What if you shaved $5,000 of expenses between your business and household? Only $5,000 between the two. And instead, you invested that $5,000 per month. If you could get an interest rate of 10%, in 14 years, how much money do you think you'd be worth? So write in the chat box. If you were able to shave $5,000 expenses, could get a 10% interest rate, and invested that $5,000 a month, not even miss 1 month for 14 years, how much would you be worth? Does anybody have an idea? Just throw in a number. Anyone? All right, I'm just watching the chat here. All right, so let's look. Your net worth in 14 years would be $2 million. So most of us aren't even millionaires. We don't even have a net worth of $1 million. Most people I have talked to, if they have any money, they have a net worth somewhere between $200,000 and $300,000. So that would be the average of those that I talk to. And again, high income earners, they're making over 6 figures a year in most cases, but they have a net worth of max of $200,000 to $300,000. And most, in many cases, could invest this $5,000 a month instead. So look at how this works is that you would have invested, I think, $900,000, but you'd be worth $2 million, which means that your money would have made you $1 million. You didn't work hard for the $2 million. You worked hard for $900,000, that $5,000 a month that you invested for 14 years. But your money made you another million, another 1.1 million. And that's passive income of $150,000 a year. But most people, they're spending the $5,000 a month for the 14 years, and they're spending it on their lifestyle. They're not investing any of it. And then they still have to work hard for that $150,000 a year income. Those of us that are wealthy, we use that $5,000 a month and did this work, put it in for 14 years, managed our money, did the 4 steps, and now we get to live off $150,000 a year passive income. This is a secret. So this is how it works. So if you shave the $5,000 a month, invest it for 14 years, you'd be worth $2 million with $150,000 of passive income. Here's this kind of the sub piece of this. You don't add another dollar for 10 years and you'd be worth over 5 million. But if you reinvested that $150,000 passive income each year, you'd be worth over $8 million in another 10 years, which is $400,000 and $640,000 annual passive income, respectively. Understanding these last 2 slides is why I'm rich and other people aren't, why I'm in the 3%. Because when I got this, it was game over. It's like, okay, really the game is putting your money to work and letting your money make you rich. My hard work, I work hard. I run businesses. I manage investments. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm all these things. Life is really busy, of course. But what I work least hard at is the amount of money that my money makes me. My money works so hard for me and it just keeps growing, regardless of how much money I'm making in my business any given year. So it's just to understand that this is the difference between being rich and being high income broke. All right. And the final thing here is you need to have a goal to have 5 streams of income. So if you look here, 5 streams of income, I don't know, I probably have 10 streams of income. Some that I put down here are real estate holdings, other investments, business, oh, this is passive income, business passive income, loan passive income, asset sale passive income, working income for total cash flow of, let's say, $500,000 a year. So it's just to look at, there's, and I have 3 or 4 different businesses and I have many different assets and LLCs, but it's a combination of all these multiple streams of income that makes $500,000 a year. I don't have to depend just on my one business to make $500,000 a year. And that's how it works. All right. So don't ask where to invest. What makes this work is not that particular vehicle. What makes this work is the system. I invest in real estate. My friend Jeremy Newsom, he invests in the stock market. My other friend Eric Francombe, he invests in companies. All of us have a $10 million net worth. We all achieved it radically differently. So people ask me all the time, like, knowing where to invest is the magic bullet. And it's like, no, it's knowing how to do all those 4 steps so that you have enough to invest. And then when you have enough money to invest, then I can share with you different places. But if you want to invest in real estate, you might follow me. If you want to learn how to be a millionaire by investing in stocks, you can talk to Jeremy. If you want to learn how to become a net worth millionaire by investing in companies, you can talk to Eric. We've all done it differently. We've all invested in radically different things and wound up in the same net worth position. So what matters is that you know your numbers, create a surplus, have a system for managing your money, protecting it, and investing it in wealth generating vehicle of your choice. Boom, bada boom. So your money has 4 jobs. Job 1, build a profitable business that you love for the long term. Job 2, run a profitable household. Track all of your money using the household profit and loss and using my 20-80-20 wealth formula. Job 3, grow a personal balance sheet. Invest strategically according to a plan that's designed to hit your financial freedom. How much is enough number? And job 4, grow your cash flow through multiple streams of income. And this is how it works. It's as simple as this. It's as simple as this here and following those full steps, 4 steps. That's all you need to know. It's just the basics. It's the fundamentals. This is the shit should be taught in school because it's not rocket science. But most of us go into our entire adulthood without knowing these things and not applying the principles. So to sum this up, the 4 shifts that you need to make today to become rich and financially free, you have to know your numbers. You have to create a surplus. You have to love, manage, and track your money. And you have to put your money to work. Boom, mic drop. End of story. No other way around it. It's the way it is. All right. So now you have a choice. For those of you that are still here and still listening, this is choice time. This is mean we've come to the end of the road, and now the road diverges into 2 other paths. And you get to decide which path you're gonna travel on. One of my favorite books was called The Road Less Traveled. And I thought it was such an appropriate book to life because the road less traveled is where the magic is. The road less traveled is where the truth is. The road less traveled is where the wealth is. But people don't take the road less traveled because it appears to be harder. Maybe it's not as convenient. But here's the choice. Everything I taught you today, you can 100% do it alone. Again, none of it's rocket science. I just gave you the formula. I just broke down everything that I do as far as kind of my overall mindset and what I do with my money and what people like me who are rich, what they do with their money. I've broken it down to 4 steps that you can follow, and you do those 4 things, I promise you, your financial situation is going to be different. You can do it on your own, or we can do it together. I can help you. By working with me and my team, we can shortcut the amount of time that we're going to take. And I'm your mentor. I'm giving you the map. I'm giving you step-by-step instructions. So that's what I do is I teach anyone, primarily entrepreneurs, but anyone that's sick and tired of being in the rat race and wants to get out. That's what I do. And I do it successfully. I've done it for years. I will continue to do it for years. And if you want to be rich, financially free, and out of this cycle, let me help you. I can help you do it. If there's any CURB students that are on the call, they can put in there how this work changed their lives. And I love it when my CURB students come back and get a little refresher. All right. So this is time that if you want to go it alone and this was great information, drop off the call. And thank you so much for being here and spending your time. I hope I was really able to offer you some really good, juicy money wisdom and advice and some tips that can really help you. Everything that I do so much free coaching and training between my websites and my YouTube channel and these master classes. I put it all out there. So I'm not keeping anything close to the vest. I give all my secrets away. So I just want to create value and make the world a better place, through this lens of finances and money. And then for those of you that want to stick around, I'm going to have all these free gifts for you. All right. So Kayla said that was so good. Thank you, Krisstina and team. You're so welcome. All right. Thanks for the webinar. This is really helpful. Awesome. So those of you that don't want to continue, hang up now. And I've got about another 20 minutes for everybody else. If you just want to learn how to work with me, whether or not you want to, just stick on. So this might be interesting. Also, by sticking to the very end, we're going to take a snapshot of everybody that's at the end, and we're going to give you all those free worksheets and workbooks that I talked about. All right. So introducing the Wise Money School, where smart business owners get access to the most innovative ways to turn income into long-term lasting wealth. So what I have is I have a course. And it's a class where it's a cohort. So it's like going to money school. So if you were going to go to your community college and take a class and sign up for a semester to learn money, everything that you should have learned in school, but they didn't offer that class, this is what it is. And so it starts on a specific date and you go through with classmates. And I teach you how to become rich by a step-by-step process. And the first thing is developing a mindset. I really get annoyed, maybe that's the right thing, when people say you can just change your mindset and all these riches are going to fall into your lap, or read a book about mindset and that's all it is. Mindset is a general term. Mindset is a way of thinking and acting in life. So our mindsets are our programming. It's the way we act without thinking. And we're set. The reason why it's called a mindset is because we're set. So just saying like, oh, I want to move from a scarcity mindset to an abundance one. Sure, the first thing is to say that, but we have to unset old sets and we have to reprogram. And to understand there's so many elements of mindset. What you have to do is you have to break all the patterning and all your behaviors and all your false beliefs about money and all your childhood beliefs that you grew up with. And we have to eliminate those and really rebuild them intentionally. So step 1 is we develop a millionaire mindset and we discover the beliefs, patterns, and habits that are holding you back. 2, I teach you financial literacy. You learn the distinctions and truth about money, the fundamentals, the basics that we should all know, but we don't know. 3, you learn your wealth numbers. You discover how much is enough, where all your money's going, and you learn your income gap and your net worth gap and all these gaps. Again, you'll see that these are all requirements to become a millionaire, which are the 4 things that we talked about. And then you build a plan and a system that is your own individualized money map and financial system that's guaranteed to produce your wealth number. So everything we've talked about mindset, your relationship with money. You have to understand money. You have to know your numbers. You have to have a management system, and you have to know how to grow that money according to a wealth plan. Our goal for this program is to reprogram your mind for wealth, create a monthly surplus, protect it, invest it, and create net worth and passive income. I want to just give you a quick little thing here. Isabel, before working with Krisstina, I had no money in the bank. I was on a treadmill. I just turned 50 and nothing to show for it. Despite having a successful business and career as a licensed therapist and coach, although successful, I was money illiterate. Now I have over 500,000 liquid ready to invest. I just bought my house for cash. I calculated my ROI from Curbs and it was 7,000%. But the lifestyle ROI is much more significant. I'm completely out of the rush. I have time freedom and can rest for months if I want to. My relationship with my husband improved significantly. I'm present again with those who love me. And Isabel was amazing to work with. We're still great friends. All right, so this is how it's broken down. It's a 12-week financial framework. Module 1, we work on your abundance mindset, how that's applied to real life. Module 2, you learn this Curbs system. So Curbs is an acronym, which is the framework, the modality, the methodology, the model that I teach that works. This is uncovering, this is the step-by-step piece. So module 2, you learn how to categorize your money, give your money these different roles, understand these distinctions with money and these rules with money, these laws of money and the fundamentals. Module 3, you uncover where all of your money is going, how much you're making, you calculate the cost of your lifestyle, you see where all your money is evaporating and disappearing, and you're uncovering these hidden beliefs about money and feelings about money that are really ruling and controlling your life. Module 4 is ratio. I call this the millionaire formula. This is this 20-80-20 I was talking about. And I teach you a formula for how to manage and move your money so that you have a surplus and your money starts to grow. Module 5, I teach you my bucketing system. I call it bucketing for billions. It's really learning how to cash flow your money through this bucketing system to make sure that you have money that can start working for you. In 6, we talk about wealth creation and sovereignty and financial freedom. Again, how much money is enough, and build out your personalized financial plan that's going to get you on the path to becoming a net worth millionaire or more. And then module 7 is investing, where I talk about how I get 10% and higher and what I do as far as my investing mindset and how I invest as an investor because I'm always wanting my money to grow. And then module 8 is where I talk about putting together your dream team and everyone that you need to be able to help you on your wealth track. And again, to remember, the wealth track is the road less traveled. This is going to put you immediately on the path of the less than 20%, 18 or 20% of people who are on track to be financially free, to be millionaires, and ultimately on the track to be part of the 3%, which is to be financially free. So that's what I teach you how to do, is how to get off the road that's traveled to the road less traveled, to get out of the income game onto the wealth game and on the path. I teach you step by step how to become rich and how to become richer month over month. This is an immersive program. It's comprehensive. There's nothing shallow. It's like going to Spanish school. When I tried to study Spanish in college and I didn't get anywhere, when I wanted to learn Spanish, I moved to Costa Rica and learned Spanish because I immersed myself into the system. And so that's what this is. This is an immersive program. I'm basically condensing 4 years of college work into 12 weeks of immersion. Basically, you're kind of jumping into a foreign country of money, if you will, to learn it quick. This is Julie D. Before I worked with Krisstina, I had no organizational structure in my business or household finances. I was going from 6-figure launch to 6-figure launch, ending with no savings and no wealth. My business was growing, but I was so focused on top line revenue, I had no idea I was actually going into more debt. I wasn't paying myself and lived my expensive lifestyle out of my business. I had a 6-figure business, but no savings, and I had over 6 figures of debt. After 2 years from taking Curb's Money Mastery, I've transformed my business from a 6-figure revenue business to a 6-figure profit business. I'm having the most successful launches of my career. And better than that, I have over 6 figures of cash in my new savings account. And because of Krisstina and learning how to invest in real estate from her, I purchased 2 investment properties, which create passive income, not to mention I'm taking more vacations. All right, we're almost done here. Oops. So that's how it is. Every week, I also have live training to coach and answer your questions. And here's how we make you richer. There's 12 weeks of the education, and how that's offered is that you get a username and password to the portal and to the membership, and you watch videos of me teaching. Like, I'm your money professor, I'm your teacher. You're going to learn so much from me in these videos. I make the videos fun. They're entertaining, actually. I'm actually kind of funny in them, believe it or not. And they are really great videos, and they're in bite-sized pieces. And you get homework every single week that you're applying that knowledge. So it's like going to school. You actually have homework. So you do that every week. And then every Thursday, we have what's called office hours. And that's that weekly Q&A and coaching. And then I also include my wealth tools. What is a profit and loss? What is a chart of accounts? You get a cash flow calculator that helps you easily determine all of your wealth numbers. You get this step-by-step guide that helps guide you so you can figure out how much money your life costs and your business costs. So you get my business chart of accounts, and you get to duplicate my business chart of accounts. People don't know a chart of accounts and how your chart of accounts is in your QuickBooks is the difference between profit and no profit. You get my personal household chart of accounts. Again, these are my financial tools. These are, if I were a contractor or a construction worker or a builder, if I don't have a hammer and a saw and a drill, probably, I'm not going to be able to finish the construction, to do construction. That's always in my tool belt. When you're in the wealth game, these are the tools in your tool belt: chart of account, business, chart of account, personal. A debt calculator. If you have debt, you'll get my calculator, figure out how to pay off your debt and how to pay it off fast. In the class, it's called Accelerated Debt Payoff. And if you're in personal debt, it teaches you, it gives you a system and a calculator to be able to radically pay off your debt much quicker. Expense cutter. I have just a little calculator in there, how to quickly identify waste and cut it fast. A goal calculator where you ID how much your dream life costs. Your goal planner, how to use all of these tools to pay for every goal. And a retirement calculator, how much you need. So these are all part of the tools. When you go to class, you get a workbook. You get all the tools that you need. All you need to bring is your own pencil, basically, if you want to do some work. Otherwise, everything's online. All right, these tools are the key to cutting waste and making your financial life ultra profitable. And this is the same system I use to build multiple streams of income and scale my net worth to 8 figures. And we design these tools for people who hate numbers like me. So people think all the time that I love numbers, I'm good at math, I just love money's easy to me, and I'm not. Everything that I teach has made it simple for people like me who don't like the numbers, who aren't good at spreadsheets. And I'm just saying, if I can do this, you can do. And I've just made everything so simple because my simple brain has to have things that are simple for me to follow in order for me to complete. All right, Marusha, I remember the first conversation I had with Krisstina, and she talked about sovereignty and freedom. I realized I didn't have either. I'd been building a business while simultaneously giving away my financial power and sovereignty. I wasn't paying myself, and I was undercharging for my products and services. On the outside, it looked like I'd made it, but behind closed doors, my financial life was a disaster. I had no money or systems. I had no money, systems, or tools, and I had no idea where to start in order to fix it. Wow, Curbs changed my life. I'm a different person now. I have so much confidence when it comes to my business and my money. Krisstina taught me her step-by-step system and a new way of thinking. Using her methodology and tools, in only 12 months, I shifted the direction of my company. We doubled the price and tripled the sales. I created a financial plan, and the course enabled me to pay off $85,000 in credit card debt in less than a year. I have a Cush fund, and my Curbs ROI was over 97%. Hold on. All right, so here's what you get. You get my Curbs Money Mastery course for $7,000, the time and money saving tools, which I say is about $5,000 worth of value. And then I have some bonuses. So that's just the course and the value. The bonus is that you get a free corporate structure and access to corporate credit consultation. So one of my business partners, that because they're my partner, they offer to any of my clients that they will give a complimentary business strategy consultation to discuss your corporate structure as well as how to position yourself to receive business credit. So they'll help you set up your LLC, an S Corp, a holding company for maximum protection, tax benefits, and low interest loans. So this is a bonus that you get this, it's about $2,500 value. This are the consultations to help you ask the question, like, am I structured correctly as an LLC? Should I be an S Corp? I just recently created a holding company working with Prime, my partners here. And a holding company gave me another layer of protection that I didn't even know I had until I had my own consult with them. And they were so helpful. That original call I had with them like 2 years ago, I said, I have to offer this to my clients because everybody needs this type of help. So that's included. And the same consultation as my business, more secure with the holding company and access to business credit, saved me tens of thousands per year with an extra layer of protection. And business credit is something that I have that very few people have, but it's, again, it's another part of your wealth building. So you get to financial freedom course for $7,000, money saving tools, $5,000 worth of value, business strategy consultation with my buddies. It's a $2,500 consultation for total value of $14,500. But wait, we're still going. Bonus 2, insurance asset protection and alternative investment consultation. Another one in my network, part of what, when I say the dream team, is that part of my wealth is that I have rich friends who have also built their wealth and they have helped me build mine. So your network becomes really important to you. People call me all the time just for my network. And the only those that get my network are those that work with me. It's kind of, this is my, I don't know, my gold and my kingdom that I share with those that are inside my kingdom. But you can receive a complimentary consultation with Kim, my personal investment advisor, and discover if you, your family, and your assets are properly protected. The more money you make, the more protection you need. Also learn the benefits of whole life insurance and 3 other vehicles you can invest your money into for higher than average returns, double-digit returns. So this is a consultation that when you ask the question, how can I get 10% plus, you'll learn that in this consultation. Her consultation advice has made me over $1 million in net worth and counting. So we'll just add that on, protection investing consultation. Her time's about $2,500. So it gives us that value. And building these relationships and figuring out all this took me decades. It's cost me over 100 grand, and I'll share it all with you. So if you avoid lawsuits, liability with this information, obviously all of this is priceless. Bonus 3. So I'm just stacking up the bonuses. Free admission for your spouse or business partner. So you can multiply your results by learning and building your curb system together. So I offer this as an incentive to get your spouse on board. So that's just adding another $7,000 on top of that. I love this bonus. Bonus number 4, the tax hacker solution. At the end of your program, we do a live personal training from my personal tax strategist and advisor who only works with clients who normally earn over $1 million a year. In this private session, you'll learn of all the deductions that only the rich know about. You'll walk away with able to save at least $10,000 in taxes per year. Said another way, it adds $10,000 to your bottom line. So just saving money on taxes. Most people don't understand the basics of taxes and what to write off as a business owner. So right here, this more than pays for the course just to save this money on taxes. And this is every single year. Tax strategies is crucial. This information will cover saved me over $250,000 in taxes in just the past few years. So again, I understand tax. I'm taking advantage of the tax code, but most people are oblivious. They're not even paying attention to taxes and have no idea how much they're paying in taxes. So that's a $10,000 event. So let's see where we're going here. All right, we're almost done here. Real estate number 5, my real estate investing workshop. I'm offering this year to share my personal real estate investing strategy that's enabled me to build a multi-million-dollar net worth live debt-free, and achieve full financial freedom. So I'm putting together this workshop for those that have taken my Curbs course as a promise. People ask me all the time about my real estate secrets. I don't teach it. I don't sell it. It's the number one question I probably get asked is how I've made my fortune in real estate. I'm really good at it. I've done really well with real estate. And I've got my own secret way of doing it. I don't teach it like other people teach it. Like I said, it's not a product or program. I could probably turn it into one, but it's kind of been my private thing. So this year, everybody that works, that is in that enrolls in the Curbs Money Mastery will be invited to a private workshop that I'm going to be doing to teach my real estate investing strategy. And I'll include the personal spreadsheets I use to track all assets, liabilities, and my net worth. And I don't know, the retail value for real estate workshops these days are $20,000, so I'm putting that on there. And all right, so that's a lot of value. So let me ask you some questions. Are you pulling massive profits from your business? Is your net worth increasing? Is your entity structured properly and your assets protected? Are you powerfully managing all of your money and growing it? Is your money producing passive income for you? Are you 100% prepared for taxes and taking every legal deduction? Are you wiping out your debt every month? Are you getting richer every month? If the answer to any of these questions is no, then I say you need to invest in this program. Finally, what would it be worth for you to have generational wealth for your family? Just a question. That means a lot to me. So here's what you get. You get the Curbs Money Mastery course for $7,000. That's the website value. Time, if you go to my website, you'll see it's $7,000. Time and money saving tools. These are giving all my personal tools that I use. Your business consultation, strategy consultation, your protection investing consultation, access for your spouse or partner, invitation to a private tax event, and my real estate workshop. All of that, again, total value for $54,000. And this $54,000 would make you millions if you spent $54,000 for all of this. So Curbs Money Mastery class, the retail price is $7,000. If you went to my website and tried to buy it, you'll see it's $7,000. The breakthrough call price before today, if you just get on my calendar, like for example, if you go into YouTube and go to YouTube and download a journal or a workbook and then set up a breakthrough call with me, the price you're going to get is $5,000, which is $2,000 off the retail price. Today, masterclass price from being on the call and staying to the very end of this 2-hour long monologue teaching thing of listening to my voice, you're getting the price for $2,997. This is a radically good price. Most people pay $5,000 because they come through for, and land up on that calendar and have that consultation. You can ask plenty of others that have paid $5,000. Today and today only from this masterclass, you can get all of that $54,000 worth of value. Everything that I've got, I'm going to teach you how to be rich for only $2,997 or 6 payments of $597 to make it as affordable as can be. Like a monthly payment of $597 is going to get you on track to become a millionaire. Is it worth $3,000, less than $3,000, to learn how to think and act like a rich person? Remember, that's where I started. If you could think and act like a rich person, would you be rich? You said yes. I can teach you how to think and act like a rich person in 12 weeks and get you on track to be a net worth millionaire. Most of my students have done that within like 24 months of taking the program. And again, what type of investment would it be worth for that type of return? So here's the thing. At this price, I have 12 spots. Again, it's normally a $5,000 class. I'm not bullshitting you. Most people that take the class do not come through this master class and they pay $5,000. That's what they quote and that's what they pay, get quoted. I have 12 spots from this master class for this price. So this is what I want you to do next. Before doing so, I want to introduce you to Andrea. Before taking curbs, I stuck my hand in the sand when it came to money. It was embarrassing. My husband and I owned a business, but I was terrified of looking at the money or talking about it. Truthfully, I was scared of money and thought I wasn't smart enough to get it. This caused conflict in our marriage and it stunted the growth of the business and our wealth. It's been 20 months since taking curbs. I now love money and have taken full control of our finances rather than burying my head in the sand. I'm now a badass with money. She says this all the time now. I manage all of the money and my husband loves me for it. Our business has grown by 20% and our net worth has increased by 1.25 million. Plus, we're saving over 50,000 per year in taxes because of Kristina's tax strategy. And the icing on the cake is that our 20-year marriage is better than ever because of what Krisstina teaches. All right. So here we go again. The Money Mastery class, $7,000 on the website. Time and money saving tools, $5,000. Business strategy consult, $2,500. Your investing consult, $2,500. Access to your spouse. Tax hacker private event, real estate workshop, sales. And I'm adding one more here. You see the plus side. Friends of mine who are Deb and Brandon Yeager, they love this work so much that they put in a sales accelerator program. And this is a live event or a virtual event. They sell it for $5,000. So we're including that as the final bonus. So you will also get a sales accelerator that will teach you sales language and sales mindset to be able to make more money in your business through sales. Sales is a skill that you have to acquire if you're going to make a lot of money in your business. But most people haven't invested in sales either. So we are going to get a free invitation to this event and be able to take this $5,000 event as part of your investment here. So to get started, just simply click the link in the chat box below. Brad's putting in the link. And this is what's going to happen. We just added that $5,000 sales accelerated program. It's a total value of almost $60,000. Today only, I have 12 spots for $2,997 or 6 payments of $597. If you're on this call and you made it this long, you can afford $597 a month. It's going to change your relationship with money. It's going to change your life. Again, don't take my word for it. I have hundreds and hundreds of testimonials, and I mean, I can point you in every direction. My reputation is at stake here. I'm not going anywhere. You hear my name in the marketplace. I think you're only going to hear really great gossip and people say all the time, like, hey, you need to meet Krisstina. She's pretty amazing. That's hard for me to say. I don't like talking about myself that way, but I'm just sharing with you that I have that reputation because this is for real. This is what I do. I change people's lives. And I love working with you and I love helping you change your relationship and your future money situation. And that's what I do. It's what I'm here for. So click the link in the chat box. What's going to happen next is you and I are going to have like a 30-minute call. You may talk to me, you may talk to Brad. But you're going to have a 30-minute call just to make sure now's the right timing and it's the right product for you. I tell as many people, when people get on a 30-minute call with me, consultation, 50% of the people I talk to, I say now is not the right time. And 50% of the people, it is the right time. And probably 25% of those that I talk to actually invest in the program. So there you go. But I just would say that because I'm probably one of the few, I'm in these masterminds and different things. And again, I just have so many things that really get under my skin. But there's a belief out there kind of in this world of selling like online education that, hey, just become a good salesperson, just separate people from their money. It doesn't matter if they have the money or not. It doesn't matter if now's the right time or not. They're adults. They need to figure out that on their own. And then they're schooled through neuralistic linguistic programming and some sales tactic to just sell you no matter what. I don't do that. It's not my ethic. And so if it's not the right time for you, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to point you in the right direction, which will be the next step. But if it is the right time for you, I'm going to say, this is the right next step for you. Let's take it together. And this is when we see that you came out of the masterclass by the special link, you'll be offered this price. All right. That is all I've got for you. I hope that this has been really helpful. Next up, click the link. You're not committing to buy. You're just having a conversation. You can tell me all the things you learned. You can ask me any other financial questions you have. And again, I'm going to ask you questions to see if it's the right time for you to take my Wise Money Mastery class, Curbs Mastery class, or not. Either way, you're going to leave with some really good information. So one more thing here. Rose, before my business made $1.4 million last year. This is in 2023. Yet I didn't save a penny and didn't have any assets, and I barely paid myself. I thought I hated numbers and just wanted to create and help people. So I never looked at the money in my business or personal. I couldn't figure out how the business made so much money, but I was still month to month. Within the first 6 weeks of taking Curbs, I more than paid for the program. Krisstina said it would pay for itself, and I didn't believe her, but she was right. I found $9,000 a month of wasted money and I didn't realize I was spending. Why? Because I didn't manage my money before. I was clueless of what I was spending. Now that money is going into my investment bucket, and I now have that $9,000 a month, invested 8% will make me almost $2 million of wealth. My business could never do that. My business eats all my money. Who knew? I can easily say that the $7,000 investment is worth $2 million. So that's Rose. And Rose, like all these students that I've just shared with you, have in the last 24 months have been through my Curbs program, and they've all been through my Curbs for Business program as well. So they are just raving fans and testimonials. I can give you more and more and more, but I just wanted to show you that these are just straight out of their mouth of what they said their value of the program was. All right, click the link in the chat box below and set up that 30-minute consultation, and we'll take it from there. I can't see who's still on the call, but whoever is still here, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. Thank you for dedication time to yourself, for learning this work. Thank you for spending time with me and giving me a stage to talk and to teach and to pay forward the gifts, the financial gifts and knowledge and education that was bestowed upon me. I didn't create this all on my own. It's come from so many mentors and books and people that are alive and people that have long been dead, that I've just studied this and embodied this and applied this and achieved it. And now my job and my work is to pass it on to you. So again, thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much. Namaste. And by the way, if you guys are still here, whoever's still here, I was giving everybody, I am happy to stay on to answer any other questions now that we're out of the presentation. So if you have a question, did I see a hand raise? That was my own hand. This would, if I do this now, I get an animation through Zoom. All right, Eleanor says, thank you. Brad's going to email you all the bonuses. So you've got all the bonuses for those of you that have stuck on to the very end. That was a lot. So congratulations. I can imagine listening to my voice for 2 hours straight. I get tired of listening to my own voice for 2 hours, let alone I can't imagine what you guys are listening to. All right. Any other questions? Those of you guys that are hanging on, you can jump off chat. You can just put it in chat, or you can jump off. All right. You guys are awesome. You're welcome, Mike. Mike, you stayed beginning and end. You were like one of the first ones to jump on and one of the last ones to jump off. So thank you so much. All right, guys, appreciate your time. Looks like we don't have any questions. So I'm going to give my voice a little, I'm so glad it was fantastic, Mike. Thank you. I'm gonna give my voice a rest and maybe just go for a walk and enjoy the snow in Park City. And I wish you all a good rest of the day as well. All right, bye-bye.